going to give you a few tips for the final exam. Submit your final exam to both the final exam Dropbox and the final exam turned in Dropbox. It needs to be in both places. The due date for the final exam is in the course syllabus. Final exam submitted late will have the grade reduced 50% for 1 day late, and no credit will be given for an exam submitted 2 days late. If you submit it like a half hour late, an hour late, I'll probably only take off 10, 20 points or so, but try to get it in on time. The scoring rubric will be applied to each item separately. For 20 points, for the full 20 points for each item, the answers are completely original, creative, and engaging while tightly focused on the prompt with no grammatical, spelling, punctuation, vocabulary errors. By vocabulary errors, I mean word choice. 15 points. Answers are original, creative, and engaging while focused on the prompt with an occasional grammatical, spelling, punctuation, vocabulary error. So the difference is it's not completely original, not completely creative, not completely engaging. You're a little bit weak in all those. They're kind of dull. They're not your best work. You'll get 15 points for that. I'm also looking at the turn it in for originality. 10 points. Mostly creative, mostly engaging, while focused on the prompt with an occasional grammatical, spelling, punctuation, vocabulary error. 5 points. Answers are weakly original, creative, and engaging while mostly focused on the prompt or have some grammatical, spelling, punctuation, vocabulary errors. The answers show up more on turn it in that there was a problem. Too much is copied from other sources, websites, the textbook, for instance. And they're not very creative, they're not very engaging. And you're going to have trouble also with some grammatical, spelling, and punctuation, vocabulary errors. Either one of these can get you 5 points. And for 0 points, answers lack originality or are not focused on the prompt. You're not answering the question being asked. You have way too much from turn it in. That's not acceptable. And excessive grammatical, spelling, vocabulary errors, one or the other. If you're weak in any of these areas, you could get 0 points for that question. All elementary teachers are certified to teach 4th grade health, also PE, art, theater, and music, because it is tested on their certification exam. My experience is that they've received no more instruction on health than do teachers of other content areas in middle or high school. With that in mind, I chose a 4th grade health unit as the context for the final exam. Use the TEKS objectives, learning targets below to do the following 5 tasks on this exam. Here are the TEKS. Chapter 115.6, Health Education, Grade 4. Personal interpersonal skills. The student uses social skills for building and maintaining healthy relationships through the lifespan. The student is expected to A. Describe the qualities of a good friend. That's one objective. B. Explain steps in conflict resolution. The student is doing this. C. Explain the importance of refusal skills and why the influence of negative peer pressure and media should be resisted. D. Demonstrate healthy ways of gaining attention. E. Identify critical issues that should be discussed with parents, trusted adults such as puberty, harassment, and emotions. F. Analyze strengths and weaknesses in personal communication skills. G. Identify positive and negative characteristics of social groups such as gangs, clubs, and cliques. And demonstrate refusal skills. H. Now, your first task for this final exam is to create an original rubric using the grid below for TEKS Objective 9D. And that is demonstrate healthy ways of gaining attention, where students and groups perform a role play. Remember that this is a health lesson, not a drama lesson. When you do your rubric, I don't want to have your different criteria focused on drama. I want it focused on health, on the aspects of health related to the objective. What are they really supposed to learn here? And you can have perhaps one that has to do with the drama, but I'm expecting the others not to do with the drama. And what are you going to use for your different levels of performance? Your highest level, not so high, next highest, and then the lowest levels of performance. Make sure you put these in there. I don't want to see anything from other sites, or I don't want to see anything from Ruby Star. I want this to be original. You will not get a second chance to turn this in. In fact, I'm going to make it so you will not be able to see what I see. I'm going to make it so this will be hidden from you, your results, and I will send them to you perhaps later in an email if I take off points because of originality. So no Ruby Star here. Be creative. Do your own rubric for this particular activity. Next, create an original rubric using the grid below for TEKS Objective 9G, where students and groups create a poster. Remember that this is a health lesson, not an art lesson. I don't want to see criteria that are all about the poster. You can have one about the poster, but the other three have to be about health. And about this objective 9G, which is identify positive and negative characteristics of social groups such as gangs, clubs, and cliques. Don't do all of them. You can do gangs, or you can do clubs, or you can do a compare and contrast of gang and a club, or a club and a clique. You can do a compare and contrast of those. You might want to do a poster, but give me a good rubric, an original one, not from Ruby Star, or no parts of it from Ruby Star. Just use the instructions given in the textbook, pages 230 to 233. That will help you create a good one from scratch, all on your own. 3. This is 2 parts. 3A. Create one high-quality extended response item for TEKS Objective 9B. See pages 177 to 180 to give you some ideas. This would be an essay that you would have these 4th graders write. Remember, they're 4th graders. They're not going to write really long. You're going to have to give them some direction. But do one high-quality extended response item for 4th graders that's appropriate for 4th graders. Remember, they're 4th graders. They are not college students. They certainly aren't graduate students. So make it so it would be good for 4th graders. And this is the TEKS 9B, which says explain steps in conflict resolution. And they should be able to do that through a scenario or something like that, or a personal story. They should be able to write that. The second part of this one, describe how you will score this extended response. Are you going to use a rubric? If so, what are the criteria you're looking for? What other things are you looking for? It tells you what you should be looking for here in the textbook, so I want to see you write that out. 25 to 50 words. Number 4, create 10 well-constructed multiple choice items for this unit. See figure 5.6 in the textbook. And so look and see what a well-constructed multiple choice item is. I'll be looking for what makes a good one also. And if it's ambiguous, if you're not sure if more than one right answer could be there, if you're putting a question mark where a question mark doesn't belong and so forth, you'll be graded down for that. 5, the last one, create 10 well-constructed true-false items for this unit. Look at figure 5.6, tells you about what makes a strong true-false item. These aren't easy, these are difficult, and it's very likely that I'll grade you down on this one unless they're very well constructed. So good luck on the test.